Dear friends, dear Sergei, Stanishev, we know each other from 20 years now, so it's hard to me to be so official, but dear President of the Party of European Socialists, dear Karl-Heinz, Vice President of Committee of the Region, who will become this week the President of the Committee of the Region, I think it's a very big achievement for our political family. Dear Mr. Andor, former Commissioner for Employment and Social Inclusion, which it's a very important topic of our days. Dear Vice Prime Minister Pellegrini, thank you for coming from Bratislava to attend this meeting, and thank you very much to all of you for this opportunity. First of all, to PES to have this initiative to organize this forum, and as you said, I really hope that it's not the first, it's the first but not the last one, because it's a very important topic. You used several times the world battle, and it is seriously. So I really think that we need to fight together for this policy, because it's about the future of our children, the future of our nations, and I will continue what you said, that cohesion policy embodies the values that are close to the heart of progressive people. It's about solidarity, as you said, about working together and leaving no one behind. And it is a core of our political family. I think it's very important to keep it. And cohesion policy, you know very well, it's the biggest, strongest solidarity instrument that we have now at our disposal in Europe. It is a unique engine for transforming people's life for the better, in particular those who were the hardest hit by the recent economic crisis. Fionek showed the map is not only about new member states, it's also about Mezzogiorno, part of Spain, part of Portugal. Also, the irony of this policy is that was designed by the pressure of the UK 42 years ago, when the mines were closed in the UK. And now it's very sad to see that after 42 years of using this ERDF, which was created especially for them, we see this lack of solidarity. So we are saying that this crisis may be out, but let's be very honest that and say that it is not over. All macroeconomic indicators say that European economy is on track, but when you take a closer look, you see that 20 million people are still struggling for a job, and 100 million people, 1 in 5 Europeans, are under serious threat of poverty and social exclusion. And of course, I assume Mr. Ander, who was our best commissioner for social inclusion and employment, will tell you more, but really I think the cohesion policy is very important for as you design like a social fabric. It's a social fabric of our societies as a whole is under threat, with increasing disparities, with the impossibility for many people to simply offer their children's better life. And of course, as you said, the crisis has not stopped the clock of the history, and new challenges have arisen in the last years, like migration, globalization, technological change, and we feel less prepared to overcome them due to the great deal of hopes and energy we lost with the crisis after so many years of cutting, austerity, and so on. So under these conditions, some of our citizens seem to be losing confidence in our ability to offer them a better future. We should be very honest and recognize that some of our citizens have chosen to look outside the traditional parties, which questions the opportunity of European integration, parties whose program consists only of slogans and false promises. But I am very much convinced that a large majority of Europeans is still ready to believe in the validity of European project and the European dream, that we can live, grow, and progress together, provided that we give them good reason to believe. So I really think that cohesion policy is biggest and great reason to believe in Europe. Cohesion policy is a cement that holds Europeans together, that holds Europe united and cohesive. And I will give you 3 reasons. First, cohesion policy is an investment arm that supports our common dreams for the continent, boosting growth and jobs, offering our youth the education they need to succeed in life, putting innovation at the heart of our economic development, founding a new relation with the planet and the climate, and all these dreams are now at hand thanks to cohesion policy. Second reason, cohesion policy enables everyone, no matter where she or he lives, to have access to the same opportunities in the largest internal market in the world. It brings European solidarity to each and every corner of the European Union. It is a tangible face of the European social model which cares about region the same way it cares about people. And I would like to thank the Slovak presidency because together with the Slovak and Maltese presidency, we have started a campaign for communication and visibility of our policy because unfortunately, according with our studies, 80% of the population, they do not know when they go into the hospital that is renovated or built by European money, when we go to the highways that is done by European money, or schools and so on. So I think it's very important to raise awareness that everything, as you said, now we have the average, the highest rate of public investment, 60% in some countries, but there were times during the crisis, for instance, in Greece, where 80% of all public investments were done by European money. And with our European funds, we mitigated the impact of the crisis in these countries. So I think it's very important to say that cohesion policy hurts beats in every village, town, region, or member state. And the success of cohesion policy relies on its ability to bring really everybody around the national, regional, and local table, joining forces for projects that change the life of communities. And local entrepreneurs, trainers, teachers, these are the people whose commitment, whose joint work is building the Europe of tomorrow. So, dear friends, as I said, cohesion policy consists in a combination of investment, solidarity, and partnership that actually makes a difference. Sergei already mentioned that thanks to cohesion policy, in the last programming period, we had more than 1 million people found a job, and I don't want to repeat the figures which I have not here. But I really think that it's very important to say that we expect more for the next programming period. We really have weekly, daily debates with the member states to accelerate the implementation of the money we have for this programming period, because the best argument for the future will be what we do in the present. And this is very important that in shared responsibility to be aware that the responsibility of implementation is 100% the responsibility of a member state, because you cannot implement from Brussels. We cannot design projects from Brussels. So I think it's very important to underline that it's a shared responsibility in implementing. So for the next years, we expect more than 300,000 projects, and they are still ongoing in the EU regions, enterprises, broadband, more than 9 million EU citizens to enjoy proper wastewater facilities, more than 8,000 kilometers of new or upgraded railways, new schools for thousands of EU students, better jobs prospects for 10 million citizens. As I said, I visited almost all the European countries, rich and poor, and you cannot see better. And I feel so proud, and I see a finishing project. As I've seen in Greece, I come back, the last part from Athens to Thessaloniki. Now there are not so many car accidents. We have a highway. We hope for Struma to be ready as soon as possible, which will allow all the people to go faster in Greece for holiday. I saw the tramway in Bratislava, I inaugurated. I should go more often because I have this abonnement to go free on all public transport in Bratislava. So the question is how and with what resources cohesion policy will continue serving EU citizens after 2020. And you know very well that is a big and tough debate, even inside the Commission, inside the European institutions. Discussions are ongoing already for some months, but of course we cannot be disconnected from the larger debate of the future of Europe, because it's the very future of Europe that is now at stake. You know very well that last March, President Juncker launched a white paper on the future of Europe. It was followed by a series of reflection papers regarding aspects like globalization, defense, European social pillar, or the future of the economic and monetary union. And the last reflection paper on the future of EU finances, which I presented with Commissioner Oettinger 2 weeks ago, may have the biggest impact on tomorrow's cohesion policy. This reflection paper intends to present a realistic picture of the current and future situation of EU finances. So, as you said, on the one hand, EU citizens expect the Union to maintain or to increase its efforts in supporting social inclusion, in fostering jobs for our youngsters, in offering a future to our communities. At the same time, citizens expect the Union to take action in new policy areas such as migration, security or defense, Brexit, security internal, external. And of course, Europe has a prominent role in the global stage as a major aid donor or leading the fight against climate change, which is in our common interest to preserve. That's why we spend together, DG Regio and DG Budget, myself and Commissioner Oettinger, hours and hours to discuss about the future of EU finances, how to accommodate all the new challenges, and also to preserve our policies, which is not old. Of course, we have to reform it, but we have to preserve it. And if you think about EU budget, we have this Monti report about how to enlarge the revenue of EU budget, because if you think of EU budget, if the member states will not be willing to fill the gap that Brexit will leave, I think it will be very hard. So I really think that we should be very ambitious in enlarging our EU revenues. If you think of 100 euro spent by a person in Europe, 50 euros is going to the taxes and social contributions. From these 50 euros, less than 1 euro is coming to the EU budget. So for less a cup of coffee per day, people expect so much from us to build highways, hospitals, schools, broadband, water, everything, so, and also to have this new challenges. The often questions I received in the press conference last 2 weeks, it was how we link this cohesion policy with the migration. So we already contribute a lot in many countries in social inclusion, and we are willing, open to contribute and to help member states to show their solidarity through the European cohesion funds. So anyhow, we have these strong uncertainties on the revenue side. The question is how we can meet our ambitions. It is a choice to be made. The reflection papers doesn't speak about figures at this stage. We have no taboos. We put all the ideas on the table, and the main idea is that EU support on policies to concentrate on the EU added value of the projects. So added value for me means helping to achieve the objectives set in our treaties, such as economic, social, and territorial cohesion, because in the treaties, social cohesion and cohesion policy was meant to close the gap between less developed and richest regions. Also, its EU added value means providing for public goods of European dimension, of cross-border linkages and cooperation, or helping to uphold our basic freedoms. And I will suggest maybe when in September we will launch this communication on cross-border cooperation to organize maybe something together on, I visited, for instance, from Bratislava and Lower Austria, a very emotional project, a bridge. It is a border where thousands of people died in a search of a better future, crossing the Danube. I also visited some projects and schools and universities between Slubice and Frankfurt am Main. So I think this cross-border cooperation, we don't strengthen strong enough how important is this cohesion policy also to heal the wounds that we have on our continental map. And I am very much worried and afraid about PES program, which was the program, EU program that brought people together. It was not London, not Dublin, not Belfast, who put people working together, children in the same schools after years and years of war. So I think it's very important to highlight, and maybe we could organize a very nice and important meeting on cross-border cooperation. So I really think that it's very important to meet people like you together with ideas. We also organized the 7th Cohesion Forum. It was last week, gathered here in Brussels, several hundreds of cohesion policy stakeholders, EU institutions, people from countries and regions, business community, civil society. So we all agreed that no European region is immune to economic downturn or changes in a globalized economy. So my point of view is that cohesion policy should remain a policy for all regions, because globalization has impacts everywhere in Europe, but these impacts are as diverse as EU regions. For instance, we have a rich region, which is here in Belgium and in Charleroi, and we help a lot with this Caterpillar case because they moved and they left thousands of people without jobs. So we are helping all regions to build a regional partnership for innovation, growth and jobs called Smart Specialization Strategies. It will be launched the day after tomorrow in the commission, in the college. This way regions can build on their competitive advantages to develop their own way of tackling globalization, making an opportunity of it. So our regions have to go, as President Juncker said, local. So thinking global, but acting local. The second conclusion of the Cohesion Forum is that Europe needs less division and more cohesion. And you said very well, Sergei, that this should be at the heart of our political family activity, because we have in front tough challenges that we are facing, as I said, globalization, security, and it's very important to speak with one voice, clearly and louder. And cohesion policy can be the cornerstone of such joint endeavor. And this brings me to the third conclusion of the forum. We need cohesion policy, but as you said, we need a cohesion policy that is more flexible, more effective, and simpler. This policy, we should recognize it was not changed by 25 years, and of course we have a lot of complaints, and we should focus much more on results and on invoices. So you know very well that my job is not very easy in the European Parliament, because when I go to the Regi Committee, of course, we talk about simplification, simplification, simplification. But when I go to the Cont Committee, it's all about control, control, control. So we have to find the right balance in order to make the life of beneficiaries much more easier, but in the same time to be sure that European money are spent correctly and in the benefit of the people. So I would not like to go further, because I know that we have here very wise people who are working directly on the ground. But anyhow, I think our policy should be prepared to better support EU region with both migration, climate change, and also to put more emphasis on innovation. And from this point of view, I am not really in favor of using structural funds, because I don't think it was designed to be a punish instrument, but in the same time, I really think that we should underline that solidarity is a street with both ways. So I visited also Palermo, also islands in Greece. We cannot put all the burden on the two countries just because of the geographical position. So I was in Chios, which is a small island, 5,000 inhabitants, 8,000 migrants. You can imagine the tension in this very small island. So I really think that we have to talk member state by member states to understand that it's a common solidarity that we have to show. So I'm in favor, as I said. It's very important for me to make life easier for everybody, starting with project promoters on the ground, and also focus on the projects, not on procedures. For example, by ensuring that all our funds were better together and based on common rules. This is my view, and I think it's very important, because all over the places I go, it's a big burden for beneficiaries that for each fund they have different rules. And I really think that we have to fight for the common set of rules for all the funds. I would like to say a few words about the high-level group on simplification. We have designed from the first month of my mandate, and we will, tomorrow we will have a press conference together with former EU Commissioner Tim Kallas, who we already provided to the European Parliament some ideas of cohesion, simplified cost options, which are included in the omnibus proposal since this programming period, and we will come up with some other proposals tomorrow for the next programming period, how to simplify the rules, the regulations. So these are some ideas I wanted to share with you today. As I said, the cohesion policy debate cannot be separated from the wider debate of the future of Europe. And I would like to take this opportunity to encourage all of you to actively participate in these debates, because if you are not participating, some other people will take decisions instead of us. So the challenges we are facing are the responses we provide will lastly shape the future of our continent, and I think it is essential that progressive voices have their say. Cohesion policy, as you said, Sergei, as we all know, in our countries is the most genuine expression of European investment, solidarity, and partnership. It's not a sectorial policy. It's a policy that serves the EU priorities, a policy that exemplifies the EU value added. And I can assure you that you can count on me. I also count very much on you. I will do my utmost to make sure it continues being so, with your support, of course, and with that of thousands of people who make it possible every day. Thank you very much, and I took note of the questions that you put on the table, and as I said, the first question, it was how much we dedicate, and I would like to say that it not depends on us. So we are not at the stage to talk about figures, but we have to be very clear on what we want to achieve. And I really think that we should meet much more often, especially with so clever, because I was member of European Parliament for 8 years, and I know that this is food for thought for me, and I'm so unhappy sometimes that I don't have time. I have to visit 28 countries, 300 regions. I would like to apologize if I don't have enough time, but I really think the next year it's crucial, and we have to find the time to shape the future of cohesion policy together. Thank you very much.